Ebere was in her early 20s, beautiful and dark, with curves that drew attention and a smile that softened even the hardest hearts. She was loved by all in the village, respectful, obedient and humble. Her laughter was sweet and her presence carried peace. But lately, something had changed. She had become quiet, often lost in her thoughts, her eyes fixed on the river that ran behind the farmlands. The women whispered that Ebere had fallen in love, while the elders said she was under a spell. Her mother noticed it too. Ebere no longer joined her friends that sat by the fire to tell stories. When the evening sun began to sink, she would pick her wrapper and head to the river. She said the calm water helped her think, but deep down, she knew there was more. The river called to her, sweet and strange, singing her name in the wind. Ebere, come closer. The sound was gentle at first, but each day it grew stronger. She tried to ignore it, but her feet always found their way to the river bank. Even the sound of the villagers calling her name could not stop her. One evening, the air was still, too quiet. The birds had gone silent, and the sky burnt orange. She reached the river bank and sat by the water, watching her reflection ripple with the current. Then she felt a cold wind brushing her skin, though the air was warm. She looked around but saw no one. The hairs on her arms stood. She wanted to run but couldn't. Her legs refused to move. The water began to glow faintly under the setting sun, and from the middle of the river a figure rose. A man, tall and broad, with eyes that shimmered like the water itself. He was beautiful but terrifying at the same time. Ebere gasped. Her lips parted but no sound came out. The man's gaze locked on her and his voice echoed softly across the river. You came, he said. Ebere's heart pounded. She tried to speak, but her voice trembled. Who are you? She whispered. He smiled, and the water behind him moved like it was alive. I am the one who's been waiting for you, he said. She blinked, and he was gone, vanished into the mist. The river became calm again, but the sound of her name floated in the air. Ebere could not sleep that night. Her mind kept drifting back to the man she saw at the river. His voice echoed softly in her head, and the memory of his eyes refused to fade. She tried to tell herself it was all in her imagination, but deep down she knew it wasn't. Real or not, she felt drawn to him like she had known him all her life. The next evening, she found herself walking towards the river again. Her heart pounded as she reached the river bank. The water was calm, the air was cool, and the same strange peace filled her chest. She whispered to herself, I just want to see him again. Then she heard her name carried by the wind. She turned quickly, and there he was, this time standing closer. His body glowed faintly under the evening light, and his smile made her heart skip a beat. You came again, he said. I couldn't stop thinking about you, she replied, her voice shaking slightly. He stepped closer, but his feet didn't touch the sand. It was as if the river held him up. The sight was strange but beautiful. Who are you really? Ebere asked quietly. He looked at her for a moment, then said, I am the keeper of this river. You belong to the water, and the water belongs to you. She frowned, not understanding what he was saying, but before she could speak, he reached out and touched her hand. His touch was cold, but it sent warmth through her body. Her eyes fluttered for a second, and when she opened them, he was gone. She stared at her hand where he had touched her and saw a faint blue mark shaped like a wave. She rubbed it, but it didn't fade. That night, Ebere felt weak and dizzy. She thought it was just tiredness, but her mother noticed the change too. Ebere, you look pale. Are you alright? She asked. I'm fine, Mama, she whispered, forcing a smile. But inside, she knew something was wrong. As she lay in her bed that night, she heard the sound of rushing water outside her window. But there was no rain. Then the voice came again, soft but deep. Ebere, you are mine. For a few days now, strange things have been happening in the village. The wind howled through the trees and the river began to swell. Most of the fishermen who went out never returned. The few who did spoke of a strange wave that rose like a wall and swallowed the boats. The villagers stopped going near the river, but the nightmares began. People woke up gasping for air, crying that they were drowning in their sleep. Children screamed at night, saying they saw Ebere standing by the water, calling their names. Fear filled every heart. The elders gathered and went to the seer's hut. They knelt and begged for answers. The seer closed her eyes for a long time, then spoke in a low voice. "The river has come to claim what belongs to it," she said. "Ebere is no longer one of you. If she doesn't return, worse things will come upon this land." The villagers wept. They all loved Ebere. She was kind and pure-hearted. How could the same girl who brought laughter now bring sorrow? It's been 2 days since darkness fell upon the village like a heavy shadow. The sun refused to shine. The birds disappeared. The river roared louder than thunder. Ebere could no longer bear it anymore. She knew the truth in her heart. She was the reason for their pain. As she watched her mother pray for light to return, tears rolled down her cheeks. She sneaked out and walked straight to the river in the dark. When she got to the river bank, the Sea King appeared, looking beautiful and cold, his eyes glowing like blue fire. He stretched his hands toward her. "Come," he said. Ebere's heart ached. She turned and looked back towards the village one last time, her eyes filled with sorrow and love. She took his hand and walked into the water with him. The river swallowed them slowly, and the glow faded from the surface. Immediately, the darkness lifted from the village. The wind grew soft again. The birds began to sing, and the river became calm. As the villagers were rejoicing, a scream echoed through the village. It was Ebere's mother. She ran to the river calling her daughter's name. The people gathered. Some cried, some tried to comfort her, but Ebere was gone forever.